ever dreamt of, like working on the open ocean, inspecting these massive ships. Well, today's deep dive, it's taking you behind the scenes of a career in marine surveying. And we've got some really insightful info from RoleCatcher.com to help us navigate this exciting field.
Yeah, we're talking career guides, interview tips, even some strategies for those tricky online application systems that everybody seems to be using these days.
Oh, tell me about it. Those things can be a nightmare. But buckle up, everyone, because we're about to unpack what a marine surveyor really does, not just, the romanticized version. And we'll uncover how you can stand out from the crowd if this is the career path you're really interested in.
And what's so interesting about this field is it's about so much more than just, checking for a little bit of rust on a hull. It's a big responsibility, right? Marine surveyors, they're responsible for making sure every single vessel out there, they meet these really strict international safety and environmental standards. We're talking like regulations from the International Maritime Organization, the IMO.
Right, the IMO. Those are a big deal.
Huge. Lives depend on this stuff.
Absolutely. And speaking of high stakes, you might think this job is all about like grizzled old salts with their clipboards and wrenches, right?
Right. Yeah.
But think again. This field is going high tech, which is pretty cool, I think.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking digitalization, automation. You really need to be comfortable with that cutting edge technology to really thrive in this field. It's a trend we're seeing more and more of these days.
Yeah, and that's where I think RoleCatcher's insights are super valuable. Imagine you've got AI analyzing job descriptions to tell you exactly what skills employers are looking for. That's exactly what they're doing, which is amazing. They help you tailor your resume and everything, so you're highlighting those skills that really matter most to these employers.
It's like having a secret weapon almost in such a competitive job market. And it's not even just about, stuffing your resume with buzzwords. It's about really understanding how to articulate your expertise, but in a way that makes sense to human recruiters.
Yeah.
But also to those AI systems. They're becoming more and more common in the application process.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of humans, let's not forget the good old-fashioned importance of communication.
Right.
Because you'll be dealing with ship owners, crew members, government officials. It's a pretty diverse bunch.
Oh, yeah. And you have to be able to make tough calls, often under pressure. Think about it. You're inspecting a vessel. You spot a potential issue.
Yeah.
It's your expertise that ensures the safety of the crew, and it also protects the environment.
Yeah. Talk about responsibility.
Absolutely.
It's no wonder RoleCatcher highlights this one particular interview question. It's about how you would handle a difficult decision during a survey. So they're really looking for those critical thinking skills and also the ability to work independently, often under, really challenging conditions.
It's not all smooth sailing, though, is it?
Right.
The guide's very upfront about the demands of this career path.
Yeah.
We're talking like long hours, a lot of time away from home, battling the elements.
Yeah, for sure. This isn't some cushy office job. This is for someone who really wants, who really craves adventure and has a passion for that maritime world. But it offers incredible experiences, I have to say. Imagine the travel stories.
Oh, yeah, tons of them.
Yeah.
You could be, inspecting a container ship in the Panama Canal one week, and then next thing you know, you're evaluating an offshore oil rig in the North Sea.
Now talk about a job with a view, right?
Yeah, definitely not your average desk job. So, okay, let's say this is starting to sound pretty good to you. You love to travel, love the ocean, all that. But this kind of career, it requires a really solid foundation, right? What kind of education are we talking about here? Well, you definitely want to look into degrees in fields like marine engineering. Naval architecture is another one, maybe even oceanography.
Yeah.
The guide, it points out that a really strong understanding of vessel design, construction, that whole maritime environment, it's crucial.
Right. It's not just about, loving boats. You need the brains to back it up.
For sure.
Which makes sense, right? Because once you're out there, you're the expert.
Yeah.
There's no calling tech support from the middle of the ocean.
Exactly. And speaking of tech, those automated application systems that we were talking about earlier, they can feel like such a black box,
Yeah, totally.
But RoleCatcher, they actually help you crack the code, which is really helpful.
It's like having like a map to navigate the digital seas of job hunting.
That's a great way to put it. They do a good job of explaining how these systems actually work, like how to optimize your resume, your online profiles.
Yeah.
So you're not just, lost in the shuffle, lost in the void. They even mention things like tailoring your language. like actually using specific keywords that employers are using in those job descriptions.
Oh, that's so smart.
Right, right.
Okay, so it sounds like they've really thought of everything. But beyond the tech, what about the, good old-fashioned handshake? I mean, networking is still a thing, right? It's not all algorithms and AI.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And RoleCatcher, they actually encourage aspiring marine surveyors to build their networks, go to industry events, connect with more seasoned professionals. It's about tapping into that collective wisdom of the field, which I think is important in any career, really.
It's like, yeah, finding your own crew before you even, set sail on your career, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I love that. And they even suggest, like, joining actual organizations. Like, they specifically mention the Marine Surveyors Association.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
It's all about, constantly learning from the best in the field, right?
Yeah.
And staying ahead of the curve, especially in a field that's changing so fast. All these new technologies, new regulations popping up all the time.
Always something new. So speaking of regulations, let's talk career progression for a minute. Like, once you are a certified marine surveyor, what does that path even look like?
Well, the guide, it actually lays out a pretty clear trajectory, which is
Yeah.
helpful. You'd probably start as, like an entry-level surveyor. So you're working under the guidance of more experienced folks,
Mhm.
right? Getting that hands-on experience. But as you gain more knowledge, get more experience under your belt, you can move up to more senior roles, obviously, taking on more responsibility, maybe even like specializing in a particular type of vessel or a specific like marine structure.
Oh, interesting. So you could be like the go-to surveyor for like luxury yachts or something,
Right.
or like those massive container ships.
Exactly. You could really find your niche. And of course, with that experience comes, you can command higher fees, build a really strong reputation for yourself in the industry. Maybe even like start your own consultancy way down the line if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, that's always an option. Okay, so last question, I promise. Imagine this. You're a seasoned marine surveyor. You've pretty much seen it all, inspected everything from like tiny little tugboats to those massive super tankers. What kind of impact are you hoping to have on this field ultimately? What's the big picture for you?
Wow. That's a great question.
Right.
And it's one that I think is definitely worth thinking about, as you're starting out on this career path. Because it's not just about, ticking boxes on a checklist and signing off on inspections.
Right.
It's really about upholding these really high standards of safety and environmental protection.
Yeah.
But in a vital industry, an industry that literally connects the entire world.
What a thought. That is a great point. And on that note, if you are at all interested in a career that combines like real technical expertise, obviously a passion for the ocean, the maritime world, and the chance to actually make a difference in the world, honestly, marine surveying might be the adventure you've been searching for. And with that, until next time, deep divers, keep exploring those career paths.